Hi, I'm Chelsea, and this is my baby Amelia, and we're part of the Outside Fam. We started a movement called #takebacktheweekend to cultivate more rest and peace in our lives. And so I want to talk to you a little bit today about what #takebacktheweekend means for us and our family. One of my favorite memories is of when Hurricane Irma hit my town. Now I know that sounds super morbid, and I'm so sorry. The hurricane itself was not the memory that I loved, I promise. It was scary and terrifying, and a lot of damage happened. But my favorite moment actually came after the hurricane had passed. You see, at the time, me and Ryan, and Amelia wasn't there yet, lived in an apartment complex, and we had all hunkered down in our apartments like little sardine can homes waiting out the hurricane. And when it finally fell quiet, when we knew the hurricane was over, there was this magical weather that swept in. It's breezy and sunshiny, and all the humidity goes away after a hurricane. And no one had had power at the time, and we'd been huddled in the dark for hours, if not days. So when we emerged from the dark night as if we'd never seen the sun before, we all literally looked like characters from an apocalyptic movie finally coming outside. Grills started popping out. Kids were throwing frisbees back and forth. If your fridge's food went bad, your neighbor suddenly turned into Mr. Rogers and he invited you into the lawn to share his hamburgers. There was laughing and people singing and an absence of electricity, which somehow made us all feel weirdly connected to one another, flesh to flesh, sitting across from each other. Instead of trying to find connection online, we were doing it in real life with one another. You see, suddenly I knew my neighbors that day. The guy next door with big arms and tattoos and a loud dog wasn't just a scary dude anymore. He's hairy. And we were sitting next to each other on the dusty lawn chair, sharing a hot dog like we're old pals. And then something happens. I have to go use the restroom real quick. I run up the stairs to my apartment, eager to get back to all my new friends. I suddenly hear a flicker from my dark house. Whee! The fridge starts to run. Click! The TV turns on to something I was watching before it all went dark. Hurrah! The power's back on! When I got back to the lawn, I was greeted with silence. The fishing poles had been abandoned by the side of the lake. There were marks in the grass where the grill was furiously rolled back into someone's apartment garage. I hear the sound of doors shutting and locking all over the complex. And I know it's sad, I imagine all my friends now sitting in their boxes of AC, scrolling endlessly, checking in, posting updates, nothing wrong with the act in itself, but somehow separating us, somehow making us strangers again. My post-hurricane experience was not the norm. But did you know that the norm today is for kids to spend less time outdoors than even a prison inmate does? Isn't that crazy? And for the average adult like you and me, we spend over 11 hours a day on some sort of screen. These are the facts that began haunting my mind when I had a baby, Amelia. My work had always kept me completely online, but even for a disciplined adult, I struggled to not let it creep into my all-day, everyday life. But the moment that this sweet, pudgy little hand grabbed my hand in the hospital, I knew that I needed to protect her heart. I knew her innocence deserved me to hold myself accountable. You see, I hadn't grown up with screens everywhere. I'm probably the last generation that can say that as I clock in as a 26-year-old millennial. My mind was free to develop and imagine and find out the healthy boundaries of rest and work and play and focus. Even with so many things happening in the world around me, things like Y2K, September 11th, I actually remained only connected to what my parents told me. And thus I didn't grow up with this burden of worry and anxiety and fear. But that isn't a privilege that a current 10-year-old, for instance, or really anybody has today. With an all-day exposure to Instagram comparison, Finstagrams, where you can let your true and uncontrolled self hang out, a constant news report updates of imminent nuclear disasters, stabbings around the corner, disturbing headlines. Gosh darn it, like it's no wonder that anxiety is on the rise for all of us, never mind kids. You see, knowledge is a wonderful tool, but for balance, there has to be a break. The question is, how? Especially when so many of us, like me, are required to be online for so many reasons. This is something I've thought a lot about, especially since having Amelia. And I've been trying desperately to brainstorm ways to teach her and my new baby that's coming along soon that technology can be used for good. It can be used for mommies like me to work from home and be able to be here and hug her right now. But there has to be a boundary. I've concluded that my boundary is when I confuse true rest in work. And technology has allowed me to step over this boundary really easily. We've blurred the line and we've confused our brain about when it needs to be on. What we get then is an ever-racing, overstimulated brain and pulse with no ability to turn off. And anxiety is the only natural next step from that. Now, a child can understand that a mom or dad should do purposeful things even 100 years ago. We didn't just sit around and play with our kids all day long, but that would be fun. I'd probably go a little cuckoo. We cooked and cleaned, we did laundry, we took care of our farms, we grew our own food and the like. So kids are used to seeing us have work and purpose. So the internet isn't inherently bad if we're using it with purpose. But it's when we blur the lines between this work and our rest that kids and us get confused. It's when you've worked online all day at your computer and then you transition to watching Netflix on that same computer. It's when you've used your phone to make business phone calls and focus Instagram campaigns, but now you're using your time to just mindlessly scroll. It's when you pick your phone up 80 times a day, which is an actual stat that we all do, to check absolutely nothing. That's when the line gets blurred. If you use your technology to give back to the world, to work, to share good, it teaches your kids to do the same. But if you use your technology as your only source of rest, of relaxing, it also teaches your kids to do the same. And this will steal the important time you and your children need to rest and find real life community. And phones honestly aren't a great way to rest, guys. We have to lead by example if we want to be well-adjusted people. And we have to lead by example if we want well-adjusted kids. So enter #takebacktheweekend. So I felt convinced that if I could take away technology during some of our rest downtime, I could teach Amelia that healthy play, imagination, and outside focus time was possible. So a few months back, I started this hashtag on social media and began my journey with those who follow me called #takebacktheweekend. And it's been incredible. Every Friday night, I delete or I hide my Instagram, Facebook, and email apps, really anything that allows me to mindlessly scroll. From Friday night to Sunday night, I stay off all of these apps. Now, it has completely changed our family's life. I know it seems small, but this small act has done such a world of good. We've spent more time outdoors with friends, with each other. Mostly, we're more intentional. We don't just feel blah on the weekends, but we have set plans and exciting things to do and ideas for activities beyond just, oh, let's just watch TV. So I want to challenge you today. I believe if more of our society participated in this intentional discipline, anxiety rates would go down, loss of self and purpose wouldn't be as big of an issue. We would all get the rest we need instead of binge watching on a new show every night. And we would find out that our neighbors aren't just caricatures of people, but real, living, breathing people like Harry with beautiful stories. We'd have true community again. The average American spends over half of their day online. That means half of your life is being given to a screen. Can I ask, do you feel better after being on your phone? Do you think your life may be better with just scheduled breaks to relearn to rest, imagine, and play again? Not completely getting rid of your phone, just breaks. Do you think your kids or your future kids' lives could be better too? Now, if you've struggled with the balance of social media and technology like me, I want to challenge you to participate in #takebacktheweekend with me and our outside fam. Your mental health needs you to use technology with responsibility. Your future kids or your current kids need you to use technology with responsibility. Technology can be a beautiful thing, a thing that has so much change associated with it, good change, but we need more moments like my post-hurricane experience where the world became safe again, where strangers invited me to eat burgers on the lawn with them and shared about their lives, where face-to-face interaction brings peace back to our soul. It starts with small steps like #takebacktheweekend. Thank you.